Hello and welcome to Kavish IAS, Converting Possibilities into Reality. In today's session, we will discuss the answer writing format for UPSC mains. In this session, we will discuss a particular question, and from that question to the very connective topic, that how we can approach in different questions on a single topic. And in this series of lectures, we will delivering the same thing on a question basis. Let's suppose there is a question. We will discuss the question, that how to write it if it comes in a particular way. We will discuss the conceptual background along with the question writing format. And at the end of that session, we will also enlighten that if there is a similar question from different orientation, what could be the answer, so that you people never get in such a situation that we have discussed the topic but the orientation of questions is different. And in today's session, the question is from previous year, that is the question from CSE 2006. Critically evaluate the continental drift hypothesis of Alfred Wegener. Now, first thing, what we need to understand, we have to read the question carefully. Here two terms are given: critically evaluate. That means in the continental drifting theory or hypothesis of Alfred Wegener, we need not to write the theory only. We need not to elaborate the theory or the hypothesis only. Our approach should be different. We have to make a critical angle. That means what are the fallacies, what are the drawbacks of this theory, along with we have to make evaluation, that to what extent this sort of theory or this particular theory is relevant to the geotectonic studies of the world, to the formation of the geomorphology, to the formation of the different landforms and something. So in this way, if we can answer, if we can write the answer, it will be a better. Got it? So in today's discussion, first of all, our strategy will on the basis that what continental drifting theory is, each in and outs will be discussed, and then we will go to the question. First of all, what is continental drifting theory? Basically, the continental drifting theory is a tectonic theory based on plate tectonic that sees initially our whole continent, the whole earth was a single landmass called as Pangea, and after that during different time it was being bifurcated, trifurcated, and the different landmass was created. One continent is separated from other continent, and this is called the drifting of the continent. Now here we will going to be discussed that why they are being drifted and what is the conceptual background. Initially, you can see in the picture, our whole earth was a single landmass known as Pangea. Known as Pangea. Pan means whole and Gea means the land. That means the whole lithospheric area was called as Pangea, and the water body and the oceanic surface surrounding Pangea was called as Panthalassa. So this was the scene. But with due respect to time, in different geological era, starting from Carboniferous and Silurian to Jurassic, in these eras, this land, the accumulated land was started to drifting. And how it was being drifted? Initially, we can see that total land was drifted into two parts. The northern part was called as Laurasia or Angara land, and the southern part was called as Gondwana land, and after that the Laodicea was also divided in North American plate region, Eurasian plate region, and the South America, Africa, India, Antarctica, Australia. These plates come from the Gondwana land. And during the movement, they are formed the Terrace. And as we know, during the movement of Indian plate and Eurasian plate, the formation of Himalayas take place. That's a different thing that will be discussed in different lecture. But in today's lecture, we will discuss that how they are being drifted and why the drifting occur. So these are the region that is based on lithosphere. If we look into the internal structure of the earth, we can clearly understand these lithospheric slabs are floating on asthenosphere, which is a semi-slipper component, silicic component, and the component being silicic is helps to move the plates. Now the question comes, what is the plate and how they move, right? So here is the decision, here is the discussion that what a plate is. These are the slabs or portions of the lithosphere. That means whatever I have mentioned in earlier slide, that these lands, entire lands are the lithosphere, and these lithospheric slabs are called as plate. Mainly they are divided into continental plates and oceanic plate. That means the plates which have made the continent portion, they are called continental plate, and the main portion who have made the oceanic part, they are called as oceanic plate. In the world, there are several plates. Mainly the major plates are African plates, South American plate, Indo-Australian plate, Antarctic, Eurasian, North American, and Pacific plate, whichever I have shown in the diagram. And the less important plates are Cocos plate, Arabian plate, etc. On an average, they are 125 to 130 kilometer thick, and they have a width of almost 200 to 300 kilometers. Sorry, they have a width of thousands of kilometers, and they have a thickness of 200 to 300 kilometers. So the thing that I want to make you understand, like this way, these plates, these lithospheric slabs started to move in different orientation. If you look into that region, you will understand why the plates are moved. And whenever the plate started moving, these portions, that means let's consider Eurasia as a single plate, North America as a single plate, South America, Africa, and so on. So these are a plate, are part of that plate, and how they move, there are several reasons behind their movement. And first of all, we can see the upwelling of magma. As you can see in the screen, the magma is upwelling, and whenever the magma is upwelling, it pushes the two portions into different sides. So let's consider this is A and this one is B. So these two plates are being moved due to the upwelling or upliftment of the magma. Now magma is always a thing that wanted to come out from the pressure. They always wanted to release their energy, and in this diagram you can see that how they are releasing their energy and helps to move this plate into towards. This plate boundary can be called as constructive plate boundary, because there is a construction of new land. As you can see, the magma is upwelling. Whenever the magma will come out into the cold water, it will be consolidated, it will be solid, it will be cooled, and will make volcanic rock. So that is why it is called as constructive plate boundary. So this is a reason, this is a controlling factor of how the plate moves. Next, we can see that the convective shell theory, and this convective shell theory is based on Sir Alfred theory, Arthur Holmes theory, that how the convective cells of the earth can help to move the plate. Here you can see there's a technical problem. Just give me a minute. As I can see, as you can see, there's a technical fault in this system. Once again, I'm back. There was a technical glitch. I'm sorry for the inconvenience. So now, what was in our discussion, that how Arthur Holmes' theory of convective cell helps to move the plate. So here, as you can see, that the magma chamber have created the cell. Now, whenever the magma is upwelling, the hot portion of the magma is upwelling and spreaded in two sides. So if there is two plate, it will be definitely moved according to the movement of that magma. And whenever the convective cell or the convective cells are active, then you can say there will be a movement of the plate. So this also helps to move the lithospheric slabs. And what we have understand till now, that the movement of the plates is the main reason for drifting of the continent. So what are the continents? The continents are the lithospheric slabs. The continents are the lithospheric slab, and the lithospheric slab means they are the plates. So if the plates move, then the continent will be moving, and that is the drifting of the continent. In different geological time, we have seen that the continent have started to move. So this is the same thing. And next we will talk about the subduction process. Now in this situation, when two plates or the two lithospheric slabs faces collision, then the heavy plate, that means the oceanic plate, generally subducted, and the continental plate, which is much more lighter than that of it, override the oceanic plate. So whenever such situation occurs, the slope originated due to the subduction of oceanic plate is called as Benioff zone. This particular area where the slope generated is called Benioff zone. And in this Benioff zone, the plate, specifically the oceanic plate, is being more attracted by the pull of the accident, by the pull of the subduction. So here is also a reason for being a movable condition of the plates. So in these ways, the plates can be moved. Besides this, there is a gravitational force or the centrifugal force of the earth that also helps to move the plates. Now you can see that how the continents are being diverted, how the continents are being drifted. In this screen, you can clearly see initially the land was a accumulated one. It was Pangea, and after that, with due respect to time, this is the drifting, as you can see right now. This is the drifting. And what the drifting actually means, that is nothing but the movement of the plates. So in a very nutshell, the continental drift theory is particularly the moving of the plates. And after 1960s, when the plate tectonic theory became more prominent, when the plate tectonic theory come into picture, these sort of theories get relevant, and this helps to prove such sort of theory. Now this is the main theme, that how the plate are moving. And in today's parallels of the question, we will discuss, if question comes in that way, how you can write it out. So our first question was, critically evaluate the continental drift hypothesis of Alfred Wegener. Right? Now I will also add some extra thing that will help you to understand if the question are coming from different approaches, right? How can the drifting of continent be proven in present day? That means in this question, you have to write the evidences. Directly, you are being asked to write the evidences. Question number 2, what is the continental drift? Just a definition. Enlighten your view over it on the basis of plate tectonic. In this question, you have to write it in other way, as I have mentioned the concept of plate tectonic. Though the concept of plate tectonic will be discussed in different question in different aspect, but still, as I show you the continental movement, as I show you the margins where the plates are being moving each other, or the plates are moving from each other, that sort of thing you have to mention. I will definitely discuss in today's session. And the third one, find out the critical approach of the continental drift theory. What is the critical approach? Now, this question is kind same of the question asked in CSE 2006. Critically evaluate the continental drift. Now, here only critical approach, you have to make the criticism. You need not to evaluate. But in today's question, the first question, critically evaluate the continental drifting hypothesis. Now, what should be our approach? How we can write it out? Initially, we will start with a basic description, right? Or a basic introduction. So the first point should be a basic introduction over the question. What the question actually want. Here you need to write about the plate tectonic and about continental drifting. First you write continental drifting. That what is continental drifting in 2 or 3 lines that related to plate tectonic and so on. After that, you have to make it clear that why the continents are drifted. After that, you have to make the point why drifting taken place. And here you have to write the portions I have discussed. I have mentioning the point, upwelling of magma, number 2, subduction pool, number 3, convective cell theory of Arthur Holmes, and number 4, gravitational force. So my dear students, you have to write it in a very short and lucid manner, just to make the examiner understand you know the basics. Okay, so in basic introduction you are writing about the continental drifting theory with mentioning the name of plate tectonic, and then why continental drifting taken place. Just make the word point understandable to them. Next we will come to the forefront with the main picture, that why or how this is evidentially proven. That means the proof, what we can say. Otherwise that will be a mistake, that if we cannot prove it, then how can we discuss the criticism, how we can evaluate it, right? So in the next point we can discuss the evidences. And what are the evidences? Number one, I will mention each and every point, and I would like to request you to note it down so that you can understand what I am going to talk. Number one, geographical similarity. And one more thing that I have forgot to tell you, whenever you are writing this basic introduction about the continental drifting, just make a diagram here on like this way. This is the equator. The Pangea, I am just making it out. And here the Panthalassa, right? Next, geographical similarity of the opposite coast in Atlantic Ocean. And what does it mean? That if you see the coasts of Atlantic Ocean, there is a similarity. That means if you see the two coasts can be added each other like a biscuit. If you break a biscuit from its midland, that can be added to each other in later time. So this is the thing, that geographical similarity of two coasts is very evident, and it can be chosen as a evidence for the continental drift theory. Number two, we will talk about paleontological evidences. So what is paleontological evidences that need to be discussed? These paleontological evidences will make it more strong that yes, there was a continental drifting. Basically, the similarity of certain fossils found on the continents on both sides of Atlantic Ocean, fossils of Glossopteris, fern-like plant, etc., can be chosen as the component to establish the evidence of paleontological evidences. That means if we can see the similarities of these paleontological component in two sides of the coast, then it clearly indicates that in earlier time they were in a same place, but due to some accident or due to something, their present locations are being changed. Their present locations are being changed with during the time they have been moved to other places. That is the main thing, right? So this can be also a potential point. Number three, evidences from structure and rock type. Evidence from structure and rock type. It also talks about the geological features and the rock characteristic across the opposite continent in Atlantic Ocean, right? The folded mountain ranges at the Cape of Good Hope at the southern tip of Africa, and the structure of same age and style of deformation near the Buenos Aires in Argentina proves that. The Appalachian of the northeastern region, or can be said the North America, are compatible with the mountain system of Ireland, Wales and northwestern Europe. So here we can say that the mountain system that is in Europe and that is in Northern America, though they are situated in different positions at present, but in earlier time they were located in almost same region, they were located in almost same area, so that we can prove it there is a drifting of the continent. Now number 4, we can say that is evidence from glaciation or glacial activities. Basically in the Paleozoic era, that means about 3 to 350 million years ago, all the glaciers covered the large portion of the continent in the southern hemisphere, and all the continent in the southern hemisphere have no trace of glaciation during this time. So this can also be a thing that whenever a place was covered with ice, snow, but now there is such no trace of ice and snow, so where they have gone? That means they have been drifted to the other side. And as we can see, the drifting of the continent showed 3 stages of drifting process. It was beginning with an original large landmass called Pangea, as we have discussed, and in basically 3 stages they have been drifted towards different sides, specifically north and northeast towards equatorial region and north and northeast. That is why we cannot see the glaciated thing in the southern portion at present time. Now we also can mention the paleoclimatic records as an evidence. So as of now, in the 4 points, geographical similarity, paleontological evidence, evidence from structure and rock type, and evidence from glaciation, I hope you people can understand that how we should write the evidences so that we can criticize the theory. And whenever the question comes only on the basis of evidence that you have to prove the theory, then also it will be very much helpful. Depending upon the question mark and the approach of the question, you have to write whether you will discuss it or you will not. Evidences should be discussed in a swift and short manner so that the question will be completed in the said number of words. Okay, keep it in mind. And now the paleoclimatic record, evidences of striking climatic changes, that is stratigraphic record, tends to support the drifting theory. Like the great coal deposits in Antarctica show, the abound plant life once flourished on that continent, which is now covered with ice. Now keep it in mind that when we were talking about the glaciation, we said that the glacial activities could be found in the southern portion, but now there is no such place of glacial activities. But in the northern side, here in paleoclimatic record, we can say that the evidence of coal proves that there was a life, and that is why carbon is existed. But now there is total scenario is of glaciation. So that means it clearly indicates there is a movement. There was a movement of the land, and paleomagnetic impact or paleomagnetic evidences is also there. Paleomagnetic evidences is also there. There have been changes in the positions of the poles in different geological periods, which Wegener has called polar wandering. So that's a different concept, polar wandering. What is that? It is the change of the position of the poles in different eras. The paleomagnetic data can be reliable to prove the evidence of the continental drifting theory. So this is the thing, that evidences, how can we write it out? And earlier we have mentioned that how to structurize the question, basic introduction, why the drifting taken place, and now we will go to the criticism. Directly we will discuss the criticism, that why the theory is being criticized, what are the fallacies. So first thing, the great criticism can be done on the way. Wagner once said that due to tidal forces, the continents have been moved, as I have mentioned earlier. But how can the tidal force be so heavy that can help to move a continent, that means a lithospheric slab which have the thickness of 300 kilometers and which have a length of thousands kilometers? So that is the first point that we can see. Tidal energy, it can be assessed as the first point. Next objection raised against the theory was that the Rockies and the Andes mountain system could not have been formed in the manner envisaged by Wagner, because if the Sial was floating over Sima, then Sima could not offer so much resistance to westward movement of the continent as to cause fold and build mountain system. That can really be a point, that if we see formation of Rocky Mountain, just to make you understand, I am writing this point, you need not to write this point in such way, you just write the pure point of criticism, the second objection against the theory of formation of Rockies and Andes. And the third objection was that jigsaw fit. It was the thing that whenever you break a biscuit from middle side, that will be like right, and it talks about that whenever you try to connect them, they will be like this one. So that thing is called as jigsaw fit, and the main problem comes here regarding the jigsaw fit. The third objection was that jigsaw fit of the opposing coasts of Atlantic Ocean, on which so much stress was laid, is not the complete one. So it is like unnatural thing. Whenever there is an erosional process by the sea waves, whenever there is an erosional process during times, how can it be possible to connect each and every part of the coastal region to the other side? It is purely a hypothetical thing. So that is the jigsaw fit or jigsaw fit concept. It is also not beyond the criticism. Number fourth objection can be related to the third one. The structural and the stratigraphical feature of the two coasts in the Atlantic, it cannot be correct completely. It may be something like that there was another reasons, there was same sort of formation process in the two coastal plains, in the two coastal sides of the Atlantic Ocean. That means in the both sides there was the same process activated, as the fundamental law of geomorphology talks about. The same process that is activated today was activated in the historic past, though not in a same speed or not in a same magnitude, but was activated. So these can be the criticism of the theory. Now we will come to the evaluation. So if we write the point as evaluation, here we will write what we actually get it from the theory. So first of thing, that this is the theory that helps us to understand that how the present day continents that are being differentiated from a particular force or particular thing has formed. If it is true, if we forget the criticism, if we forget the critical approach, then it is too much interested that initially our earth was a single landmass, and after that, with due respect to time, there is a different breaking and making of the lands, and how Alfred Wegener has made is a complete understandable thing that present day, whenever we think of the coasts of different continent, whenever we think of the different continent or different countries, it is an amazing hypothesis. It is an amazing thing that make us understand the activities, the physical activities of the earth. So in the evaluation, we can also mention it, that it is that particular theory that helps us to understand how the plate moves. It helps us to understand the existence of different plate, and after the evolution of plate tectonic theory, it becomes more prominent. And whenever the question comes in different pattern, as I mentioned earlier, that question comes in 3 different approach, then you have to write in your own way according to the main theory that I have discussed, and I have discussed how the answer can be written in the question that came in 2006 CSE. On basis of this thing, you will write it. I would like to request you people who are being waiting to check your answer, just make notes on the 3 questions and comment after writing that whether this session is helpful to you. If there is something that need to be added, we will take it into our action mode. I hope you people like this. If it is worth of your time, if it add value to your preparation, then let us know in the comment section, and I hope these sessions will be beneficial for you. On this note, thank you everyone. Have a good day.